Everybody, welcome. This is Kevin, a CPA that does financial planning with Leading Edge Financial Planning. And first of all, a warning. If you're not thinking about creating income for retirement, then this is probably not the video for you. It's amazing to me that how many people, when they're coming up to retirement, that these income strategies become so fascinating, interesting, important, super important. But if you're 40 years of age or 45 years of age and you're thinking about retirement in the future, maybe this is not going to be so interesting for you. But the big problem here is, there's two problems. Number one, we no longer have pensions that just, take care of us anymore when we retire. And the second problem is that there's so many different ways, so many different products, so many different strategies that you can use when you get to retirement. And you only get one shot at retirement, and that's kind of a cliche, but you really do. And if you don't choose the right way to get income for the rest of your life, you will not get a do-over. So, and that's part of the reason why I think it becomes a lot more interesting when you're thinking about the fact that I'm leaving work and I'm no longer going to have any ability to generate income with my human capital. I have to use our financial capital to take care of myself and my family. So with all those caveats, let me start out by telling you about Robert Merton. And Robert Merton, interesting fellow, MIT, Sloan School of Management graduate, affiliated with Harvard, and he has written extensively about a lot of different topics in investing. He won the Nobel Prize in economics, and he is somebody that's written recently that we may be focused at the wrong on the wrong goal in retirement, and we really need to focus on the fact that when you get to retirement, it really is about income. You can say, hey, look at my really impressive 401k, and we look at the big balance and we say, wow, that's really great. But we have to think about how are we going to create income, because that's really what counts. You have liabilities every day when you wake up. You have to pay this bill and that bill. And you need income that's going to support those liabilities. But at the same time, you also may want to think about growing your money so into the future, if inflation grows, which we expect it will, that you will be able to once again in the future use that income in a way that you'll be able to continue your lifestyle. So Robert Merton has discussed liability-driven investing, which we will get to. But let's go through the 6 ways to create retirement income, and then I'll give you a 7th kind of a structure of how to think about a different way to do retirement income. So the first way is using traditional portfolio method, and I'll get into a little deeper with that, but the benefits are we're used to it, liquidity and control. Okay, so stocks, bonds, cash, real estate, and then having your Social Security, etc. Great way to do it. The second way is annuitizing your money. So you no longer get a pension from work, but what you do is when you retire, you take some money from your portfolio and you hand it over to an insurance company, and they pay you for the rest of your lives. Okay? It's known as a single premium immediate annuity, a SPIA, but who cares what it's known as? It's basically you give your money to the insurance company and they're going to pay you back over your life, and not just pay you back, but give you some extra money, especially if you live long. The third way is liability-driven investing, and Robert Merton has worked with dimensional funds to actually launch funds that are able to use liability-driven investing strategies. So I'll get to that. Using income from bonds and stocks. And so when I was a kid, I talked to some people that were retired and interest rates were extremely high, and they talked about just using CDs and never touching their principal. Well, that's not worked as well the last 10 years. But some people still want to be able to do the most they can without touching their principal, and that's strategy number 4. Next strategy is the 3-bucket approach. And this is something that Charlie and I have talked about extensively. We think it's a great way to do it. So we'll go over that quickly. And the final strategy here is structured products. So this is indexed annuities using variable annuities with lifetime income riders and other types of products. There's even products now that are not insurance-based anymore, that you can define the downside as well as hopefully get some upside. Now, I promised you at the beginning that I was going to talk about a strategy that's just a different concept, and this is from Wade Pfau, who is a PhD, CFA, smart person coming to Knoxville in September, if you want to see Wade. But what Wade says is really we should look at retirement in a different way and look at it as a two-tier. And so he says the first tier is taking care of all needs, all necessary expenses. So using your Social Security, using any pensions that you may have, using dividends and interest, using annuities, where I said you can hand some of your money to the insurance company and allow them to pay you back for the rest of your life. But really taking care of all your needs, okay? So all your needs are taken care of. Now your wants and wishes, many people, wants are very important. They're things that, we want to go on vacation. We want to be able to hang out with the grandkids and travel, and we want to get a new car some period of time. But he says we can separate these as wants and wishes, and we can invest our other capital into more aggressive investments, such as stocks and REITs and stuff like that. So once your basic needs are taken care of, then you invest your money more aggressively, and you can invest it as aggressively as you want. So again, this is just a different way of thinking about it. So let's start out with the first one again now, using traditional portfolio methods. There is some literature that, using stocks, bonds, and cash, we know historically what the returns are. But if there's catastrophic market crashes, there is still possibility of white knuckle type time periods where you stress. So it's extremely to understand with the traditional portfolio method what your risk tolerance is and what's your risk capacity. Now everybody knows what risk tolerance is. It's when the markets go down. How much do you lose sleep? How much do you stress? Are you able to live your life without feeling terrible? Risk capacity is only known if you run a financial plan. It's only known if you run a financial plan. And the reason I say that is you may say, I'm okay with losing 50% of my portfolio. But if your plan is that if you're down 50% in your portfolio and you're taking money out while it's down 50%, you'll never catch back up and you will run out of money. So risk tolerance as well as risk capacity, two very important things with the traditional portfolio. And it's a great strategy, like I said, because we're used to it. We can leave a legacy. We get to control the money. There's so many good things about it. Okay. The second one is to annuitize your money into a pension-like strategy. So here's a little visual here, is that you take a portion of your money and you say, here, insurance company, pay me back every month. And the insurance company will invest it and hopefully be able to pay you back a high enough amount because they're making money on your money. That's the first way they do it. And the second way they do it is they give you mortality credits. What's a mortality credit? Well, if you live a long period of time, all the people that die along the way, you get extra money because you're living a long period of time. So they say you can win the annuity lottery if you live to 100 because the life expectancy is, let's say, only 80. But again, if you die early, sometimes you cannot leave a legacy to family members. So that's the negative of using the pension-like strategy. So the liability-driven investing, I love this as a CPA because if you're a CFO of a company or if you're a pension person and you're saying, okay, when are we going to have to pay out certain sums of money? Okay, if you're CFO of a company, you're going to say, we need this for a building in 3 years. In 5 years, we need a new fleet of trucks. In 7 years, we need this. So when these liabilities come up, we want our investments to match each liability. That's really what liability-driven investing is. The second part of liability-driven investing, though, is that if I need a fleet of trucks in 7 years, I better be able to have inflation protected money in 7 years, because if the trucks go way up in value and I think I had enough money for it and I can't buy the trucks, well, then that's a major issue. So using inflation adjusted bonds to be able to make sure that when that future time period does show up, if inflation is great, that you're going to still be able to have the same purchasing power. So this chart right here shows the idea of the fact that it's very, very steady. This is inflation adjusted monthly returns in real units of consumption. And you can see that the blue is very steady. So you're always having enough income to be able to buy the things you want to buy on an inflation adjusted way, as opposed to the old way of just using bonds, and bonds can, the amount of money that you're getting from them can go up and down. Okay, this is the part that people like. Use income from bonds and stocks, dividends and interest. It feels good because you're not using up your principal. Okay, you're only living off your income. Again, 20 years ago, this was maybe easier to do than when interest rates are 1-2%. But the big problem with this is there's a couple problems. Sometimes you can chase yield, okay? If I can't get the type of income I need from CDs, maybe I'll use junk bonds. Maybe I'll use mortgage-backed securities. Maybe I'll use other things, and then what happens is when markets do crash, these things are not as a low volatility as treasury bills and CDs. They're just not. So it can still hurt you. And so this is showing the S&P dividend growth by quarter, and it shows that in the great, let's see here, in the Great Recession, the amount of dividends that companies were paying did go down pretty substantially. So you would have gotten a cut in pay if you were just living off dividend producing stocks and interest from bonds. So multiple things you have to be careful of. The three bucket approach, I'm not going to go over here because we've gone over it a number of times. Charlie and I have written about it. But all it's doing, again, is focusing on short-term goals with cash, moderate-term goals with safe investments, and then longer-term goals with REITs, stocks, and other more volatile investments. So it's a terrific strategy for income. Structured products, including indexed annuities. Okay, so this is what sounds like the free lunch in investing. Okay, I'm going to get a product that's going to allow me never to lose money, but I'm still going to get all the upside on the markets. And of course, there is no free lunch in investing. There's no free lunch in economics. So if you're going to mitigate the downside, you're also going to not have the ability to get the growth that you want on the upside. So Charlie and I feel like if you want to use this for a shorter term, and I would classify it as bucket 1, bucket 2 type strategy, that would be fine. But using just one of these products for the rest of your life, I think you're going to end up disappointed. It's about expectations, and insurance people will show you that if you use this product, you're going to get these returns. What we have seen is a lot of people have been disappointed because, again, when you limit the downside, by nature, you also limit the upside. So there are now new mutual funds that are out there that can do it, so you don't even have to buy insurance. Okay, taking the pension annuity income or lump sum, this is something that we help clients do. Again, you can give the money, keep the money at the company, and allow them just to give you a pension. The final thing that I'll talk about here is using a mixture or using other ideas. One of the things that we have seen with people that have enough money to retire is sometimes having a multitude of strategies when certain strategies don't feel as good can work. Again, you don't want to do all 6 strategies, but let's say, for example, you want to do the bucket approach, but you also want to have some dividend income that makes you feel good that that's going to come in year in and year out. It may go down a little bit when markets go down, but sometimes you can use a mixture of strategies, and so we can talk about that. The other thing that I would tell you is don't rely on your smart friend who says that there's new ways of generating income. A lot of times the new ways are just the things that have worked recently, and it's called recency bias. So this person has had a wonderful retirement over the last 10 years. By the way, stocks have gone nothing but up over the last 10 years. So it may sound like a great strategy, but it may not be. Or it may be a new product that's just a new way to hide what the insurance companies are doing. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. If you're interested in these income strategies, we're very happy to talk with you. So thanks again for watching. Everybody have a good day.